Hello everybody and welcome back to Ashley Shami. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the hidden gems that your job does not want you to know when you are trying to keep your job. So before we get started, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and let's just jump right on into this. So if you're dealing with workplace bullying, sexual harassment, racism, all that icky yucky stuff that you should not have to deal with when you already got enough on your plate in life as it is, I am going to equip you with the tools that you need to succeed against these issues on your job. I've been there, done that, and guess what? It doesn't always have to be you suffering. At the end of the day, it's up to you whether or not you want to win or you want to lose by these people pushing you over the edge where you quit and you lose money or you get fired unjustly. With the new year swiftly approaching, a lot of these companies are looking to hire and fire a lot of people. So if you need your job, you also need to be equipped on how to keep your job if they try to run game on you. Before you get gamed, I want you to know how to play the game. So there are some things we're going to go over in this video, and I'm just going to run the list down. Documentation, confrontation, your position, which is to remain neutral throughout this whole thing, your workplace policy, building a case on your bully, the chain of command, one-party consent states, non-retaliation policy, FMLA, free therapy sessions offered through your job, EEOC, and lastly, the statutory limit on when you can no longer file a complaint. If you are being bullied at work in any way, document. And when I say document, I mean email, have a little journal. However, do not ever let nobody know that you are in document mode. I preferably would actually use my personal email because when it comes to emails, I have control over my email. And I know that, say, if worse came to worse and my stuff had to be subpoenaed, I would never have to worry about them trying to alter the system or try to get rid of things illegally because they done got caught. So what I would do is I would actually do all of my documentation via email from my personal computer at home. Wouldn't do it on the work computer because people have so much access to that. But as long as you have like a little journal or even in your cell phone where you can keep notes, timestamps and stuff like that, that's perfect. You should never have to enter your job to eventually leave and wind up in some mental institution, some hospital, or on some antidepressants because some stupid man or woman up in the job is acting a fool and nobody's addressing them. So now it's time for them to know what time of day it is. So I have kind of like a scenario that I built out. The principle applies to many different things, but I just want to kind of give you all kind of like a rough guideline and outline to follow so that if you're going through something, you kind of know what the next step is to do. So I wrote this all out. This is based on things I've heard through podcast coupled with going to networking events where people actually talked about this stuff. Professionals. I'm talking about people who are professionals and what to do. And then, of course, lived experience. All right, so let's get into it. You started this new job or you've been at this new job. All of a sudden, this person out of nowhere starts bullying you. And you kind of overlook it the first time thinking, okay, maybe you're giving that whole excuse. Oh, I'm going to give them excuse. Maybe they're having a bad day. All right, so then they do it again. So in this case, you gave them the benefit of the doubt on the first run. Second run, first time, shame on them. Second time, shame on me. Now you address them. You want to confront the bully, but you want to do it firmly and respectfully. And if you can, do it in front of people, preferably a group of people or at least one trusted coworker. And the reason why I say respectfully is because you do not want to give the bully any ammunition to use against you when they run to HR to tell on you because you hurt their little feelings. So you make sure you tell them. For this video example, say the bully calls you out of your name. Oh my gosh, you stupid. Excuse me, what did you call me? Oh, I called you stupid. Don't call me stupid again. Don't do that. Thank you. That's it. Depending on how they come back from that, if they apologize, I'm sorry, it won't happen again, that's one thing. But if they don't, and you tell on them, because if you do not address or confront the bully, that's going to give HR and your management team power to side with the bully, because what will happen is the bully's going to be totally caught off guard, and then they're going to be like, oh, that's not what I meant. All she had to do was just come up to me. I would have apologized. Don't ever give the bully room to work against you, because that's why you have to confront them. Otherwise, it messes this whole thing up. So you got to follow this thing. Okay. This is the next step that you want to do. Say that doesn't go right, or you have crooked management where they side with the bully. You want to go home, open up your email, and say something like this. Hey, I had a discussion with you about such and such on this time and day. I thank you. Remember, always remain neutral. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for handling that issue for me. However, I noticed that such and such is still disrespecting me, and that's really starting to impede with my work progress. I really want it to stop. Now, you're laying down expectations of how you want this to go. You don't want to deal with this anymore. If you can, get your third party to also write an email, or if they allow you, CC them in that, and then have them say something like, yes, I remember I was there, or yeah, they are doing it again, blah, 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 blah. Because we're trying to build this case up. So now let's say that you are scheduled for an office meeting. Now, so if the management is corrupt, generally they're not going to schedule an office meeting. They're more likely just going to impromptu run you into the office, and then they're going to try to ambush you in that office. Be mindful for ambushes. When it comes to ambushes, less is more. Try to do more listening than talking, because the more you talk, the more leverage they're going to have against you. So just do a whole bunch of listening. But this is the key. If you get ambushed, soon as you get home, if you got to write down little notes in your phone in the bathroom and be like, this is what they said in the office when they got me off into the office abruptly one day at random. Have all that, whatever happened in there, and make sure you go back home, open that email up. Hey, thank you all so much for the meeting today. Remember, this is a game. You got to play the game. Thank you all so much for the meeting today. I remember you were saying this in the office, and that, and blah, blah, blah. And that's why you don't want to do a lot of talking, because you want to recall more of what they told you instead of what you said to them. Now you're building a case on management, because now it's starting to be linear. Bullying, management. Get what I'm saying? All right, so next. Say if the meeting is scheduled, depending on your state and depending on your workplace policy. For me, I live in the state of South Carolina. If I wanted to, I can actually bring a recording device in that planned meeting, because I live in a one-party consent state. What that means is I am one party consenting to using the recording device in this office environment, and I don't have to tell them unless my policy says that I do. So you want to make sure your policy aligns with what's going on in the state, because you do not want that to be used against you later. So just be mindful of that. Okay. All right. So let's say you've gotten so far to where you done got your recorded device and all that stuff, and you hear what they said, and they said they're going to make changes, and they don't. Go back in that email again. Hello, thank you so much for that meeting. I remember we said this, and this. And remember, you can go off of what you heard in that recorded device. And this, and that. But don't tell them that you recorded them. That's for your personal documentation. That's for you, not for them. Go in that email, tell them, hey, this was said, that was said, but I noticed that this hasn't changed, that hasn't changed. I've been talking to you all for about a month now, and I don't understand. Say you do all that, and they start to ice you out. They start to isolate you, ignoring you. Go to that policy handbook, Look at that handbook. What does that handbook specifically say or state about non-retaliation? That protects you. Non-retaliation means that you suffer no adverse reaction for filing a complaint in your organization. So be mindful of that. Put that in that email. Even if the manager's doing it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's no feelings. You fighting for your job. You're fighting to keep your checks. This has nothing to do with them at this point. This is not about being their friend. This is not about being in their corner. This is not about making them upset. They signed up for this. Now they're getting what's coming, and quite frankly, it's past due. So you want to make sure, get in that email. Hey, quote the page number. Always quote. And that's the thing. When you are in these emails, and I wish I said this in the beginning, always cite the page number and what you're referencing in the policy to your manager. Always do that. So say you're getting retaliated against. Hello, such and such. We had a meeting the other day, and I noticed that nobody briefed me on how we weren't coming into work on Friday, and I showed up in the parking lot and nobody was there. And it wasn't until I got home and I found out from this random email that I got hours later that we weren't at work today. You want to put all that in the email, coupled with, hey, page number of our manual states no retaliation. I feel like I'm being retaliated against. How is it that I'm the only one, since I filed this complaint, that I'm not knowing that we didn't have to go to work on this day? Put that in there. We are almost finished here. Before I get into the family medical leave, EEOC, and all that statutory limits and stuff like that, check what your state says, what your state says. Every state is different. Every state has different rules. Every company and policy has different rules. You want to check that first before you start this, so you know what to expect. Now, say that things are getting a little bit too much. You just need to step back for a while. As long as you have worked 12 months, accumulating 1,250 hours of worked labor, you can actually go on Family Medical Leave Act. You can leave your job for 12 weeks of unpaid leave and get your head right. Also, make sure that this is a company that has 50 plus employees and you live within 75 miles of the workplace. Now, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but a lot of companies have a third party free therapy sessions that they offer within their benefits package, and no cost to you, of course, until after your free sessions run out, and then you have to use your insurance if you so happen to fit well with your therapist that you're paired with. If you decide to go that route, you can do that on your FMLA. Get your head right while you're taking your break, so when you go back, you can get this thing on out the way. Depending on your company, they may offer you anywhere from 5 to 10 free sessions, whether or not you work part-time or full-time. So let's say worst case scenario, you come back from FMLA, nothing's changed, it's still the same old crap, same old people acting a fool. And this is the thing, you're going to have to start escalating now. You're going to have to escalate. If you have to escalate all the way up to the CEO, trust me, they're not going to want to get that far. And if it gets to the corporate level, more likely it will definitely be rectified. But if for some worst case, rare scenario, it doesn't, all that documentation that you have been doing with the page numbers of the policies and all that stuff, those timestamps, it's time to print all that out or download all that into a file. Now you're going to have to go to the EEOC, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Now it's time to invite somebody else in to fight the battle for you. The EEOC is going to run a thorough investigation within this company. After they find out that you have been telling the truth, which of course you have, what's going to happen is the company may settle because they don't want to get sued by you, because they have violated their own handbook. What's going to happen is they may compensate you or give you some type of, it depends on how egregious or serious the offense was or is. and they don't want to do that. So trust and believe, if it gets far up as the CEO, more likely it will be rectified. You could be promoted. They'll probably get the troublemaker fired. They might have to clean house with management, all that. And lastly, remember, if you happen to get unjustly fired, now for my state, the statutory limit to file is 6 months. Find out what that is for your state. Mine is in South Carolina, for those who may be in South Carolina. And yeah, so that's it. I hope that this helps arm you all in some way. You do have to be mentally fortified for this. It's not easy. You do have to have a strong support group. Going into this, you really almost have to have tunnel vision, and you almost have to just tell yourself, okay, I'm going in. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have people that hate you. You're going to have people that are going to talk about you. But if that's what it takes for you to get peace because somebody in that job is running you raggedy, it's time to stand for yourself. All right, thank you all so much for viewing this. If you have any comments or questions below, please comment, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.